Om Namah Shivaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, wanted to seek the blessings of Radha Madhav, the Shyam Krishna Balaram, Bal Gopal Singh, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Gaunitai ki jai. Shri Shri Tulsimalani Haridas Thakur ki jai, and Guru Parampara Srila Prabhupada Guru Maharaj and the assembled devotees. So we wanted to continue to talk about the fourth canto, and we are on the 18th chapter at this moment. So, King Maharaj Prithu milks the earth planet. So, Earth took shelter in the form of Gaumata of Maharaj Prithu. Although Maharaj Prithu was still not satisfied because Mother Earth stopped giving milk, stopped giving any grains, anything, because she was not happy. Mother Earth explained that her reasons for hiding the seeds, herbs, and grains was due to the misuse by the non-devotees. So this is often we see sometimes there's drought, there's famine, there's floods, usually because some it's a reaction to some sins, heavy sins. Anyway, therefore she had hidden them as she was not properly protected nor respected by King Vena, and subsequently by the thieves and the rogues. Now she advised Prithu that the grains, etc., may be taken out. Arrangements can be made by providing for the following: need a milkman, need a pot, need a calf to increase her affection so that she may give sufficient milk. So this is Mother Earth is saying, you can milk me like a cow, because she's taken the form of a cow, although she was also present herself as well. She also advised him to make the earth level in preparation for ample production of grains. After hearing the auspicious and pleasing words of the planet Earth, the king accepted them. He then transformed Swambhu Manu into a calf. This king, Prithu, is actually a partial incarnation of the Lord. So he can do anything he wants. Amazing as it sounds, he turned Swambhu Manu into a calf, and he milked all the herbs, grains from the earth in the form of a cow, keeping them in his cupped hands. So this is really hard to comprehend. But this is what is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam Puran. And the Lord can do anything he wants. If he can put a massive tree into a little seed, then this is nothing in comparison. Others who were as intelligent as King Prithu followed in his footsteps and also took the essence out of the earthly planet. So who are these others? The great sages milked knowledge, Vedic hymns. The demigods milked Soma. The demons got liquor. The Gandharvas and Apsaras got music and beauty. Pitaras got food offered to the ancestors. The Siddhas got siddhis. Siddhis like a magical power or mystical power. Like there's 8 siddhis, becoming smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest, etc. Yakshas, Rakshasas got beverage made of blood. Snakes got poison, cattle got grass, carnivores got fresh flesh, birds got insects, trees and mountains got delicious juices and minerals. Prithu became very satisfied and developed affection for the earth like his daughter. Prithu then leveled the surface of the globe by breaking up the hills with his strong bow. He next engaged in city planning, which began from his time. So this is a long time back, city planning, before people lived here and there. So this is Maharaj Prithu. He's leveling the earth the hills and the mountains. Chapter 19. King Prithu's 100 horse sacrifices. As King Prithu began the performance of 100 horse sacrifices, Vishnu, along with the great sages and demigods, appeared there. Various gifts were offered in the sacrifice. The rivers gave all types of tastes, the trees all fruits, the cows all types of milk products to satisfy everyone. The oceans gave all types of jewels and pearls, the mountains all types of edibles. So this is in recognition of Maharaj Prithu's sacrifice, 100 horse sacrifice. So now, a little drama takes place now. Lord Vishnu's presence enhanced Prithu's opulence, but Indra could not tolerate King Prithu's opulence. So sometimes the devatas, and more specifically Indra, becomes a little bit envious when he sees somebody who's doing exceptionally well, mainly because he's worried about his own position, his own opulence, his own fame, etc. So he, invisible to all, stole the sacrificial horse from the last sacrifice. So the 100th sacrifice was taking place. In order to complete, you have to do the full 100. And he stole the 99th horse. So the 100th horse, actually, the 100th horse. So 199 sacrifices had been done. Desiring to appear saintly, Indra disguised himself as a sannyasi. Atri Rishi saw this, and he instructed Prithu's sons to chase Indra. And he, on the third attempt, successfully retrieved the horse. And thereafter, he was called Vijitswa, he who has won the horse. On the first attempt, Vijitswa released Indra as he was dressed as a hermit. Atri encouraged Vijitswa again, who got the horse on the second attempt, but Indra again stole the horse. The third attempt was successful, and Indra gave up the dress of the sage and became invisible. So Indra is playing some tricks. Indra adopts various forms as a sannyasi, and since that time, some foolish people have adopted the dress of false sannyasi and going naked or wearing red garments and speaking skillfully, with the desire to attain siddhis and take others' wealth. King Prithu prepares to kill Indra, but he is stopped by the sages. They assure him that by his actions, Indra's power has already been reduced, and they will call Indra by their mantras and throw him into the sacrificial fire. So this is quite drastic action, because they were all so angry at Indra. Anyway, Brahma comes and he saves Indra while convincing Prithu to do only 99 horse sacrifices, by which he will become even more famous than Indra. So sometimes we have to also make a little sacrifice. And this is what Prithu did. He didn't complete the 100 horse sacrifice, but because of that, he became more famous. Brahma advises that the sacrifice should be stopped so that Indra does not introduce more irreligious practices. So Indra already introduced this false sannyasi, and people will imitate that. So Brahma was worried. Let him have his way. So what? if you don't do one more sacrifice. Mhm. And especially this was important because Prithu had incarnated to protect religious principles, and now Indra was introducing irreligious principles. Brahma said to Prithu that he should know well that that even amongst the demigods there are many unwanted desires. The sages and Prithu must accept Indra as part and parcel of the Lord, as is Prithu himself. And also the yajna is to satisfy the demigods, and they're all part of Indra's body. So Brahma is really giving some amazing philosophy now to spare Indra. And this is quite very interesting, actually. Sometimes, even when we're right, it may not be beneficial to um, to force that right over others, especially if we lose relationships. Or so here in Brahma is basically saying to Indra, to Prithu and the sages that let him have his way. Yes, Naniven.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, is the Indra so strong that Brahma could not convince him, and instead of he tried to convince Prithu Maharaj?
Yeah, because he's not that, Brahma could have convinced Indra, but Indra has these unlimited desires,
Mm.
and even if he convinces him now, in the future, if Prithu did the 100 sacrifice, he'd do it again, because he's so envious sometimes, right? So Indra's desires are a little hard to control, and Brahma would have perhaps had to take some really drastic action against Indra. Indra has his good qualities. He is the king of heaven. But sometimes he just gets a little carried away, especially when he sees somebody doing very well. He feels threatened, his position. So he does crazy things.
Basically, is envious person.
He-
Envious demigod.
yeah, I mean, he's got more good qualities than like these crazy qualities. But sometimes these crazy qualities really come out. Uh,
Mm. Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
generally, he's a devotee, and he's in the mode of goodness and all that. But occasionally, he just does these crazy things.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
And we'll see that again a few times through the Bhagavatam. Thus Prithu gave up his anger, as also advised by Brahma. He makes peace with Indra, it satisfies everyone. Thus pleased the demigods and Brahmanas who are blessed Prithu. So, Canto, chapter 20. Lord Vishnu's appearance in the sacrificial arena of Prithu, Maharaj Prithu. Lord Vishnu appears and advises Prithu to forgive Indra. So this is so powerful. We may be offended by somebody's behavior, but it's a great sign of strength when somebody is forgiven um, by the victim. Sometimes you hear about, this mother's child has been killed and that woman has actually forgiven the killer. And it's really hard to um, put into practice, let alone understand. But it's a sign of great strength to forgive. And an intelligent devotee does not take action against the soul or the body. If there is any discrepancy, he forgives. Forgiveness is a quality of those who are advanced in spiritual knowledge. If affected by Maya, then any advancement in spirituality is a waste of time. Lord Vishnu explains that one who knows Paramatma and Atma is never affected by the modes of material nature, for he is always engaged in devotional service. He who does so without material motives becomes satisfied within and attains peace. So we are all looking for this peace. And here there's a little formula how to get that peace. Not to be affected by the three modes, because one knows Paramatma, one knows oneself, being engaged in bhakti and having no material motives. This is an interesting formula. Lord Vishnu instructs Prithu to always protect the citizens, be equipoised and treat people equally. Without being disturbed by temporary distress or happiness, he should fully control his mind and senses. Interesting is Lord Vishnu is advising without being disturbed by temporary distress or happiness. In the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna 4 times, when he's talking about the qualities of a devotee, 4 times he says that my devotee is neutral when it comes to distress or happiness. He's not affected. So it's such an important thing. So without being disturbed by temporary distress or happiness, he should fully control his mind and senses. The Lord explains, if a king protects the citizens, he gets 1/6 of the piety. If he doesn't, the citizens will take his piety and he suffers their sins. So to be a leader is a heavy responsibility. So we can see here, the king gets only 1/6 of the benefit of the piety of the citizens if he protects them. But if he doesn't protect them, he takes all of their sins, and the citizens take his piety. That's uneven balance, but that's the position that the leader takes his chances when he decides to take leadership. The Lord offers him any benediction, and Prithu accepts the Lord's instructions on his head. Indra falls at Prithu's feet, but Prithu picks him up and embraced him. He worshipped the Lord, Lord Vishnu, who was about to leave. Seeing Prithu's saintly behavior, the Lord remained. The Lord's feet touched the ground. His feet generally do not touch the earth. But out of affection for Prithu, he touched the earth and placed his hand on Garud as if to prevent himself from stumbling, since he is not accustomed to stand on earthly ground. Prithu did not wish for any benediction, except he prayed for 1,000,000 ears, these ears to hear, so that he can sufficiently hear the Lord's glories from the pure devotees. So this is also part of Bhakti Yoga, to hear about the Lord's activities, the Lord's glories, very important. The spiritual vibrations from the mouths of the pure devotees carry the saffron of the Lord's lotus feet. Thus anyone who hears from the devotees remembers his eternal relationship with the Lord. Prithu desired to serve the Lord's lotus feet, as does Lakshmi. Prithu was afraid there would be a quarrel with Lakshmi over service to a single master, and whether the Lord would take his side if that happens. However, Lakshmi in Madhurya Bhav is in Madhurya Bhav, while Prithu is in Dasya Bhav. So there's no question of his competing with her on the platform of Madhurya Bhav. What does all this mean? Prithu was a servant. His mood was of service to Vishnu. Whereas the mood of Lakshmi towards Narayan, there's some service attitude there, but there's also this Madhurya Ras, in loving relationship. So there's no question of competition between Prithu and Lakshmi Devi. Being pleased, Lord Vishnu blesses Prithu with pure devotional service. The Lord then returns to his abode in the spiritual sky. So, chapter 21. Instructions by Maharaj Prithu. King Prithu returned to his city, which had been decorated with many different auspicious items. While mantras and prayers filled the air, he is unaffected by all this ceremony for his welcome. He does not become proud. He blesses the citizens, for he has the accumulation of all success in his attainment of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God. So he's completely satisfied. No envy, no greed, no anger. Vidur wanted to hear further about the qualities of Prithu. Prithu ruled the entire world. Only the Vaishnavas were exempt from following his commands. He begins a great universal sacrifice. Maharaj Prithu's very attractive bodily features are revealed, with all the auspicious signs in his bodily construction, showing that he is a great personality. King Prithu addresses the citizens and explains that as the king, he represents the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His duty as king is to lead the citizens in performing their varnashram activities for the pleasure of the Lord. And he asks them for their support in this endeavor, stating that those citizens who cooperate will be elevated with him to whatever destination the king achieves. So this is quite an important point. The king leads the citizens, and as long as they are faithful to the king and listen to his message, then they will share in his spiritual success. So where the king is going, the citizens will also go with him. And usually the king, if he's pious, will attain some strong spiritual status. He explains to the citizens of the potency of devotional service, bhakti yoga, how it cleanses the dirt accumulated in the mind for innumerable births. Devotional service should be performed with body, mind, and words with full confidence and without reservation. He thanks the citizens for helping him in his service to Krishna by their execution of devotional duties, dharma. Offering karma, bhakti mishra, to the Lord gives one gyan. Jnana mishra bhakti, by which one attains the Lord. However, the appearance of gyan and the resultant attainment of the Lord depends on the amount of bhakti and faith in offering these karmas. So there's three things here. Karma, our activities, and karma yoga is where we are not attached to the fruits. There's jnana, where we have some knowledge of the Supreme Lord, and then there's bhakti, which actually brings everything together. Bhakti is where one performs loving devotional service onto the Supreme Lord. So it's higher than karma, because in karma, the highest stage is not being attached. But then who are you attached to? Bhakti gives that attachment to the Lord. And jnana is having knowledge. Again, knowledge is detachment from this material world. Knowledge leads you to detachment because you realize how futile this world is. But again, without bhakti, there's no direction. So bhakti gives the direction. Bhakti gives the direction towards the Supreme Lord. So very powerful message. Prithu describes how the Vaishnavas and the Brahmins are more powerful than royalty. The Supreme Lord himself became famous by worshipping them. Like Lord Ram, for example, he worshipped Lord Shiva, right? Lord Shiva is a Vaishnav. So, Lord Shiva is a Vaishnav. So, worship of the Supreme Lord himself became famous by worshipping a Vaishnav. Anyone who worships them and their descendants please the Lord and all the demigods. Prithu requested their blessings so that he might please the Vaishnavas and the Brahmins, along with the Supreme Lord and the cows. King Prithu hears from the demigods, the sages, the citizens, who are all expressing their goodwill towards him. The sages state that his father, Veena, has now been delivered. He was a terrible king, nasty, cruel king. But even he has been delivered because of the actions of Prithu Maharaj. And they bless Prithu for spiritual success. The citizens thank him for being a perfect representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chapter 22. Prithu Maharaj is meeting with the four Kumaras. Wow. The four Kumaras, recognized by Prithu as they arrived to see him. He was anxious to receive them nicely, offering them seats on the throne, washing their feet, and accepting their foot wash water on his head. Prithu showed how to receive a saint. There you go. Washing the feet of the four Kumaras. Prithu acknowledged that it is rare to see such great souls who, if pleased, can bestow any benediction, and more so the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one receives such exalted personalities, his home becomes glorified. Unfortunate are those householders who, even if rich, do not allow Vaishnavas into their homes. Yeah. Generally, when one is very rich, one becomes a little arrogant. And that arrogance is very unfortunate because it can lead to a hellish condition. Their houses are like trees in which all venomous serpents live. Prithu asked them if persons entangled in matter can be blessed with any good fortune. Nice question. Somebody is so heavily entangled in material life. Can they get any good fortune? So there you go. This is the four Kumaras, Prithu inquiring. Appreciating Prithu's words, Sanat Kumar replies that his questions are for the good of all. Attachment to glorifying the Lord is difficult to achieve and is the goal of human life. This attachment can be increased by hearing and chanting about Krishna. One should avoid bad association and facilitate glorifying the Lord. Sanat Kumar lists qualities that enhance spiritual advancement, especially rendering devotional service and hearing the pastimes and qualities of the Lord. So this is very important, to try to hear about the pastimes of the Lord. And then, attachment to the Lord and detachment from the body can be developed by, so this is quite important, having faith, being inquisitive about process of bhakti, applying bhakti yoga in life, worshipping the Lord or topmost devotee, regularly hearing and chanting the Lord's glories, not associating with materialists or accepting their goals, being disgusted with the taste for sense enjoyment, being satisfied in the self, cannot live in peace without drinking the nectar of the Lord's qualities, being non-violent, following the footsteps of great acharyas, remembering and tasting the sweetness of the excellent pastimes of the Lord, practicing bhakti without material desires, not criticizing others or their methods of religion, simple and plain living, tolerating dualities like heat and cold, things like that. So these are very powerful things to develop. So Sanat Kumar describes the liberated position of full attachment to the Lord, whereby one is fully aware of what the Lord desires him to do. He has no other interest, and the subtle mind is destroyed when one no longer sees. So the mind can be effectively destroyed because the mind at the moment is independent, is attached to material senses. So when the mind, when we are no longer, when the mind is no longer seeing external sense objects for one's own pleasure, internal disturbances, lamentation, obstacles in seeing Paramatma, which existed previously. This is similar to the waking state in which one no longer sees the objects in a dream. Sometimes when we are asleep, we have dreams. We think they're real, but then when we wake up, we realize, that was just a dream. So at the moment, we're going through a long dream. And as soon as we wake up, we will see ourselves and the super soul and our connection with the super soul. Sense gratification destroys spiritual consciousness because it causes the soul to become forgetful of Krishna and thus lost. Preferring other goals such as making money is the greatest obstacle in spiritual life. Avoiding hedonism, one must be serious about liberation and understand the temporary nature of material existence. So these are this process, thinking of self-gratification, mind becomes agitated, the discriminating power of intelligence is lost, memory is lost, knowledge is destroyed. This is the problem with getting entangled in sense enjoyment. And it leads to love for life forms. Constant thinking of money and its use for gratification destroys all goals, lose gyan and wisdom, knowledge and wisdom, move into immovable life forms like trees and plants. So this is a big problem. Attachment to sense gratification is a big problem. Sanat Kumar explains how the super soul, supreme soul, lives with each soul in the material body, yet is always transcendental. Devotees surrender to him only and thus overcome strong material desires that are otherwise insurmountable by others, like jnanis and yogis. The Lord's lotus feet are the boat for crossing the ocean of nescience. Having heard Sanat Kumar's words, the king worships the Kumaras, saying that their presence has fulfilled a prophecy made by Lord Vishnu. Prithu gave all his wealth in charity at the end of the whole sacrifice. What remained was the remnants of the devotees. Knowing that only by the grace of saintly persons he has any possessions at all, he offers the Kumaras all his wealth and possessions as the rulers of the earth. The Kumaras praise Prithu's character and thus departed for Satyalok. Thereafter, Prithu perfectly carries out his royal duties in full dedication to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unattached to material opulence. Pure devotees like Prithu, although beyond the execution of karma, yet as householders, they sometimes engage in karma because of the following reasons: to teach people in general, to avoid lapses in varnashram, to avoid criticism of the path of bhakti. Oh, this person is just doing bhakti. No more caring for parents. No, not a good thing. To protect the confidentiality of pure bhakti. Having accepted all the qualities of the other planetary deities, Prithu pleases his citizens in all respects. He was as powerful and exalted as the sun god, as strong as Indra, as tolerant as the earth. His intelligence and education were exactly like that of Yamraj. He was wealthy like Kuber. His glories were as sweet as Lord Ram's. So we finished there, chapter 22. So tomorrow we'll do chapter 23 onwards. Any questions? Any comments? Wonderful chapters, actually.
Prabhu, sorry, Hare Krishna, because I was breaking up a lot. The Wi-Fi is not very good here. The
Okay.
Sanat Kumar, was he one of the four Kumar, yeah?
Yes, yes, yes. Sanat Kumar is one of the four Kumaras. He's usually the one who is the mouthpiece of the four Kumaras. Yeah. Yeah, he's usually the mouthpiece,
Mouthpiece, did you say?
the speaker. He's the spokesman. So
Okay,
usually he's the one who imparts knowledge. They all do, but he is the most prominent.
all right.
Yeah, they're all equally as powerful as each other, but he's the one who usually speaks. So, for example, uh,
Sorry.
there are a lot of conversations in the Bhagavatam. Actually, he's the one who's leading those conversations. Is that okay? I think we may have lost you.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, it broke up again, so I had to change place. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah. So he's
now it's
okay. So he's usually the one who speaks on behalf of all the brothers.
okay. Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you. You said something else after that, but I missed everything.
No.
Okay,
It's the same thing. Same thing.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare-
Prabhuji.
Ben, Hare Krishna.
Finish?
Yes.
Samati, finish?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said something about destroyed mind. Is it the same thing to do like Alzheimer or no?
No. This is when the spiritual consciousness is very strong, then the mind no longer can interfere. Otherwise, the mind usually is attracted to sense enjoyment. So when the spiritual consciousness is very high, the mind is no longer in the picture. So it's effectively destroyed.
Destroyed with the outside world.
Yeah, that's correct. It's
And more, it goes more into spiritual.
that's it.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you very much. Yeah. You was reading.
Yeah,
I mean, it was nice. You read too many chapters together,
I know.
but it's okay. Don't worry. And some of I miss it because he was downstairs, so I couldn't concentrate.
Okay.
Anyway, you just now mentioned about tomorrow we carry on, but I think last week you mentioned you will do Monday and Tuesday, and Wednesday you go for your operation.
No, Thursday operation. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So tomorrow last day for a little while. Yeah.
All right, yeah. Then I think I must have heard some little bit different. That's fine. Then we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Prabhu, this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, yeah? Everything you've said is.
Everything is in the Bhagavatam. That's right.
Okay,
And these are the different verses within the Bhagavatam where this is a summary of those verses.
Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I'm going to show you one book. Is it the same one? Just let me bring down.
Okay. Okay, let's stop this anyway. Srimad Bhagavad Purana ki jai.